Sorry, I hope. Okay, good. So let me start again. Let me recap. Yeah. All right. So it's good to be here. I'm excited to be here. I see that some other people are excited to be here too. So the excitement together, we should be able to draw the very best out of what I've tried to prepare. But I trust above all things that God will help me to deliver the right message for every single person today. And yes, this particular topic is an interesting one for me because, when Yolu, first of all, mentioned to me that he's thinking of this particular topic, I was like, okay, yes, I have a podcast episode around it. And I was like, okay, I'll see what we can prayerfully put together. But as I mentally prepared, I actually realized that that is exactly what happened to me a while ago, because I would say I was on a track where I was living life well. I mean, life was good, which is actually what happens to a lot of us. So when we talk about reconnecting dreams, there could be a tendency for us to think that, oh, well, but I'm not off track. I'm living a good life. Yeah, you're living a good life, but are you living it at the level that you want? Are you living it with a sense of fulfillment? Are you waking up every day understanding that there's so much that you can still express and enjoy and all of that? So I would say I was living life well, but I wasn't at that level that I felt I could be, and I would also say that one of the things that was probably happening to me in that season of my life was a place where I was saying yes to some things, depending on my mood, maybe opportunities to serve or things that I could do with my time, things that I could do with my gifts. I had a focus on my family quite all right in that season. So I was introducing myself basically as a stay-home mom, to people. But deep down, I knew there was more, because years before that time, I had voluntarily left paid employment because I had some stirrings on my inside. I wanted to do some things. It was even a tough one deciding, but with prayers, my husband and myself, rubbing minds, seeing a mentor. At that time was Ibukun Awoshika. I was able to visit because she wasn't this busy then. I was able to exit the workforce. But after some years, I started having in me a desire, a hunger for more, but I was not able to connect with it the way I should. So it actually went that way for me. And deep down, I could say that I knew I wanted more. I knew that it was better and everything. Now, eventually, I had a breakthrough. Like I said, it's not as if anyone who would have met me at that time would not have said, oh, Buki, you're living an idle life. Some people call me Buki, some people call me Barbie, some people call me Folafayo. Buki, you're living an idle life. You really need to connect with your dreams again. That's one of the things I want many of us to probably pick out today, because you could actually be living good, living okay. In fact, probably even living an enviable life. And so for many of us, we feel like, many people are not where I am. So we don't feel the urge to pursue something more. And that was where I was. It was good. But a breakthrough happened. I had a chat with someone, and the questions that the person was able to bring to my mind, my attention at that time, while I started thinking about it, it started bringing an unsettling in my space. And around that season, I now started reconnecting again with those urges. And that led to a lot of things. And years down the line, here I am today. So today I will be sharing with us on this idea of reconnecting with our dreams. And I'll try as much as possible to do it focusing on certain questions that a lot of us could have around dreams. Because I believe that as long as you have these questions and they are unanswered, you could pretend the question or the issue is not there. You could sweep it under the rug, or you could even run away from it, which are the things many of us do with things that we do not understand and we don't know how to tackle. So I'm trusting that with some of the ideas I'll be able to share with you today on those questions, we'll be able to move forward and eventually connect with our dreams. But before I go into the questions, let me ask one thing. How do you know that a dream is even a dream? Because some people will say, oh yeah, I have dreams, or I have something I want to pursue, but I don't even know if it's a dream. No, maybe because you're probably comparing with someone else's own. You're like, oh, it's not as big as Mark Zuckerberg's own, having something like Facebook. Or you're thinking, or Bill Gates, or Warren Buffett. Or you're thinking of, like I mentioned earlier, someone like Ibukun Awoshika. I don't know if with my desire to become someone in the financial sector, I can ever, you're comparing yourself with that, and you're saying, I can't really say it's a dream because it's not something big. That's what we're thinking most of the time. But let me tell you what John Maxwell says about what a dream is. Usually a dream is a picture that is future positioned. There's a future about that dream. There's something yet to happen about that dream. it's rare for you to have a dream that is very close to where you are today. Usually it seems out of reach. So it's that picture that you're saying someday. Usually you say, someday I will, someday I will have, someday I will be, someday I will do. So it's usually something that is future position. There's a future possibility about it. The other thing that can also make you know when a dream is that it is inspiring, because it is usually beyond you. It's not something that you say like, let me put it this way. Let's say you've been making cakes, maybe you're in the cake making industry or something, and you've been making cakes. You've even made wedding cakes for very important people before. A dream to make another cake the following day may not really be something you would call a dream. It's just more like, oh, I plan to, just like a simple goal. Usually when you're thinking about dreams, it is bigger. It is something that you've probably even haven't done before, the way you're thinking about it. So yes, you might have had a bit of it, but it's not the way you've done it before, and it might not be the person you've served before. So for example, I'm also a headshot photographer. And I desire that one day I will be able to have the opportunity to do the board of directors of a very important company. I have taken headshots before, but I've never done people in that number at that level before. That is a dream. So it's usually inspiring. It's not something you've actually done before. The other thing you can see that can help you to know about dreams is that it energizes your mind, your will, and your emotions. Every time you think about it deeply, there's an energy that it brings with it. You know, someone said, you know, she's excited earlier on. That's the kind of thing that happens. You know, you have an excitement in your spirit when you think about a dream. Though some things may happen depending on how you actually channel that thinking process. But usually, when you have a dream, it is something that energizes you, it empowers you. And another way to look at it is to say, your dream usually has a connection with purpose and your potential. I will come back to that in one of the other questions that I believe we usually have around this, so that we can get deeper into this at this time. Now, I know somebody may be saying, okay, you know what, you guys are always talking about dreams. I've tried it some time ago. It just seems like it's like everybody is like, you know, having the carrot on a stick to an animal, you know, you're just pushing it forward, pulling it out of reach. And it's not something that can ever, you know, happen. That what's the big deal about dreams? I know some people will say dreams, yeah, goals, yeah, vision. You know, we could be asking, what's the big deal about a dream? You know, why does it even matter? Okay, so some time ago, I thought about this deeply, and I realized that there are 4 key people that are blessed as a result of your dreams. While you're pursuing the dream, and when you finally achieve the dream, there are 4 key people. Now, there are other reasons which I will touch on a little later, that I would encourage that we also identify, and it will differ for everyone. But there are 4 key people. The very first person that matters when it comes to this dream is you. The very first person. So even if you're saying, oh, but nobody cares about me, no one is bothered about what I do in my life, you know, I don't want to just live my life for other people. The very first person that you need to think about when you're thinking about reconnecting with your dreams, pursuing your dreams, fulfilling your dreams, is you. And you may be saying, Falafai, I don't get what you're talking about. You see, this is the example I always tell people. So imagine you're here today, right? As a pencil. Now, what kind of dream could a pencil have? A pencil will have a dream to maybe be a pen, right? So the pencil is holding the image in its mind that one day I would eventually become a pen. But guess what happens as the pencil starts to do its work to become a pen, or to get to this level? It will change. So by the time Mr. Pencil gets to this place, Mr. Pencil is no longer Mr. Pencil. Mr. Pencil has now become a pen. So you may say, oh, Falafai, that's easy to understand, but what if my dream has nothing to do with me changing? You still change along the way. You still become a better version of you. Let's use another example. You're probably earning $50,000 right now. And you're saying, one day I want to earn $1 million. So you're still Mr. Pencil here, earning $50,000. And one day, you remember we talked about one day earlier, one day you want to earn $1 million. As you work, set in structures, learn the things you need to do, connect rightly, and do everything, and you get here, you will no longer be Mr. Pencil earning 1 million. You will become Mr. Pen earning 1 million. You are not the same person that you are when you finally achieve your dreams. Things change. Your thinking changes, your network changes, your net worth changes, your attitude changes, you become a different person. I mean, look at everything you've ever achieved in life and look at how you were initially and how you are now. You've probably changed. I mean, for those of you that might have, built a different level of income from when you left school. Most of us weren't earning much when we left school because we probably didn't know much about setting up businesses and, doing something for anyone and getting paid. But look at where you are today. You are not the same person you were when you left school because you've changed. You were pursuing something. You were getting increase in an area. The first person that gets really blessed as a result of the connection back to the dream is you. You become a better version of yourself. Now, the other thing that I want us to note today is that as you change and you embrace a new, some old things also drop off, but eventually you're becoming a better version of you. The second person or the second category of people that get blessed as a result of you connecting with your dreams is that person at the end of your dream. So some of us would say, I want to set up schools, libraries. I remember that one of the dreams now that, I hope to have someday is to set up an amazing library in Nigeria for kids. As in, I really want to do that because I've seen it outside the country before, and it was a place my kids loved going to. So I was like, we should have something like this in Nigeria, an amazing library, right? So if you have a dream like that, there's someone waiting for that dream to be accomplished. There are beneficiaries that will be at the end of that dream for you. So it could be kids who would have better access to education. You may say, oh, you know what? I just want to sponsor teachers, pay them better so that they can teach better. It could be that, and it could, be something as interesting as, Facebook, having something like a platform like Facebook where people can connect and have visibility. But what I want us to know today is that there's someone waiting at the end of your dream being realized. So one question that comes to my mind that, if we had time, I would love that we probably answer is a question like this. And I ask it whenever we have one of our wealth-focused mastermind groups is this: if you had $1 million today, left over, after all your expenses were covered, as in you don't have to worry about housing, holidays, your children's college fund, health for your parents, or retirement house that you want to buy for your parents and nursing care, everything is covered for you. What would you do with the 1 million? If you had a $1 million access or portfolio liquidity today, with everything else that you would ever need in this world is already covered, what would you do with that $1 million? You will be surprised what everyone will start writing now. We're going to be writing amazing, incredible things. And most of those things are things that are outside of us. That means that deep within, we all have something that we really want to do, a cause we want to give to, that we want to support, that blesses someone at the end of your dream, which usually is accompanied by financial increase, by the way. Somebody is waiting. Somebody will be blessed. Now, there's another interesting category of people that are also discovered over time that are also blessed as a result of our dream being reconnected to, pursued, and achieved. Those are the people along the way. And many times we don't really think about this. This set of people. Now think about it this way. You know how it is when you light a candle, and then that candle, in a room where there are many rooms, or in a house where there are many rooms, or in a room where there are smaller rooms, or in a house where there are many rooms, right? And you need to light up everywhere there. So that candle is lit. You get another candle. You use it to light another candle. You use it to light another candle. You use it to light another candle. That's exactly what happens when we connect with our dreams. Remember, we're still looking at the question, what's the big deal about accomplishing our dreams? That's exactly what we're looking at today. To say, there's someone that gets awakened as a result of me pursuing my dreams. Now, there's this song that I love so much. I play it a lot when I have my live sessions. It's Glorious by David Archuleta. For those who like music, you may want to look that up on YouTube. And there are these lines in the song that I wanted to read to us today. And it says this: and you will know how to let it ring out as you discover who you are. Others around you will start to wake up to the sounds that are in their hearts. That means that when you let what is inside of you ring out, when it rings out a sound that can be heard by someone, others around you will start to wake up to the sound that is in their hearts. I can tell you personally that when I started doing most of the things that I'm doing today, many people that didn't know me very well before this are like, Fola Fire is doing this. I can as well. It brings them to a point where they're realizing that, oh, if she's podcasting, I can also podcast. If she's coming up on live sessions, I can also do this. If she's running sessions, I can also do this. She changed careers, I can also do this. When you make a decision about doing something in line with your dreams, someone else awakes to theirs that is deep down within. Now, this particular person that comes forth is definitely not the list. And this person, for those of us that are people of faith, I'm a person of faith, is God. So that G-O-D in his name is an interesting acronym, right? We can just say it stands for the giver of dreams. The giver of dreams can't wait for you to fulfill your dreams. He is glorified when you fulfill your dreams. He is the grand master of dreams. He's the designer behind your dreams. So every time you consciously reconnect with your dreams, you bring glory to God. So I said earlier that we may be asking, oh, what's the big deal about dreams, Fola Fire? Now I've mentioned 4 important people. Now you may say, but I don't know these people. Oh, well, you know the first person, and you know the second person, the last person that I mentioned. You know yourself. You definitely don't want to be the same person years down the line, because what happens is as you move towards your dreams, you become a better person. The very best by the time you accomplish it. But then God is also glorified. Now, the people within, at the very end or along the path, they will also be blessed as well. You would also get to know them over time, because somewhere along the line, they will reach you and they will say something like, oh, you know what? That book you wrote, it blessed me. It changed my life. Oh, you know, that session you came on where you were interviewed on someone's podcast, there was something you said that resonated with me and my life has never been the same again. Oh, you know what? That money that you sent to that orphanage was what helped me to become this and gave me the opportunity to do this in my life. There are 4 people, categories of people that are connected with your dreams. But there are other reasons which I would encourage us to still connect with, but that is very important for us to look into. Now, I know someone else may be saying, okay. Now I get why dreams are important, but I don't even know what my dreams could be at this time. But I've thought about it. Okay, so these dreams, what could they be? Okay, so we've clarified some things at the beginning of what your dreams could be like. It's future positioned, it's inspiring, it energizes you. It's like a combination of your potential in it and a sense of the purpose you will get doing it. But in addition to that, there are some things I would want you to think about when you're thinking about connecting with or being able to clarify your dreams, because to be able to pursue it, the starting point is to say, what is that dream? All right. So one of the things I would encourage us to look at is, what did you dream of as a child? Some of us had dreams as children, maybe because of an uncle we saw, an auntie we saw, things we were exposed to, and we wanted something different or something better. But because of the kind of adult talk we got then, you know, maybe some people who try to protect us and keep us in a safe zone, not out of wickedness, but because they felt they were protecting our interests, we decided to shelve those dreams. Or for some reasons, we lost confidence in ourselves because of tough times that happened. Or you're at a place where you're saying, Falafayo, you know what, the responsibility I'm facing right now in my life is so much. It's not the time to be pursuing any dream. Maybe you may be saying that. But if you want to reconnect with dreams again, that's the first place to start to say, what did I even think about when I was growing? It was one of the things that helped me when I first left paid employment, because as a child, we had house helps that stayed with us. And there was a particular one that my mom supported to learn how to sew till she got her freedom then. And ever since that time, every time she was still learning with paper, then cutting and sewing and taking to her shop, I also would cut paper and say, okay, I can try. So I always had this inner desire to learn how to sew. So the first thing I did when I left paid employment was to go to a fashion school, because I had that dream. So right now, even though it's been a while since I sat at a machine, I can actually sew. It was a dream that I had then. And I was able to make some things for people before I eventually left the fashion line. But if I'm asked to design something today and to supervise someone who is sewing, I can do that. So you need to ask yourself, what was that childhood dream that I had? What was that childhood dream that I had? That's usually the first place to start. Because most of us, like I said, we've buried those dreams. For whatever reason, we've shelved them. But we need to reawaken it. Reawaken that giant within. We need to reawaken it. Now, another thing for some of us is to say, okay, I don't mind where I am right now, but I could actually not mind more of this, or I probably don't mind having better of another thing. So for some people, it's simply that, to just say, okay, I'm earning $100,000 now. I would like to earn $500,000 in about 2 years. That's a good dream to start with because you want more. Because the way we've been designed is to always want more and to want better. So for some of us, it's just to say, okay, these are the 3 things or these are the 5 things I want more or better of. And then you work towards that. That's another way to identify where to start with. Now, that may not necessarily be your end goal, but remember I said, where do you even start from to clarify what that dream might be? Now, for other people, you could be looking at things that you're naturally good at. Naturally good at. And that's one thing I always tell people. It's easy with social media today to get carried away with what other people are doing and to assume that because you were smarter than them in school, you can do what they're doing better. Not necessarily. Because if you have a gift that is different from them, you will be running fast in the wrong direction, trying to be like or better than those people. I remember years ago, when Diolu Hakiyemi started blogging, then his wife, my husband, some other of our friends, we used to meet together then, and they were like, "Oh, Bookie," like I said, some people call me Bookie, some people call me Barbie, some people call me Falafel. When are you going to also start blogging? I was like, I'll start blogging sometime soon. Don't worry. When I get ideas of what to blog on, I will start blogging. Interestingly enough, I did start blogging. I did, and I blogged for about 4 or 5 years or thereabout. But then there was now a time when WhatsApp became the thing, or was it BlackBerry became a thing, how to BlackBerry chat or something like that. And then I started doing something else instead of blogging. From that, WhatsApp came up, to let you know how old I am, BlackBerry. And then WhatsApp came up. And when WhatsApp came up, I started recording some of the ideas that I would have blogged about, and I would send it to a few people. Then one of my friends said this to me once, "I think you should really think about doing a podcast." At that time, I had never considered a podcast. And even if it had come to my mind, I would have felt, podcast, am I even in the category of people that podcast? Where am I even going to get all the gadgets? I would have looked for every excuse possible. And then she just told me, "Oh, wow, why don't you just think about podcasting?" And in about a year, I started my podcast. And we're like 3 years now, or 2 years plus thereabout, but we are on episode 60 something right now of my podcast. But the reason why it was easy for me to stay with that is because I talk. I like to talk. If you're someone who knows me and we're chatting and we're getting deep into the chat, honestly, I will call you, because in my mind, I'm like, please, this chat is annoying me. I can't express myself well. One of the best way I express myself is by talking. But some people will see people coming on live sessions and like, I was better in physics than this person in school. I was better in further math. I can also do this. No, you may actually be a better writer. But some other people, they are not so confident on camera, but they are better and they have amazing voices. So what are you naturally gifted in? What is something that you don't even struggle to do? Can we look at that? Because those things, they are tied to your dream. So what we need to be asking ourselves is, how do we package it with intentionality? Like I told you, I was just sending voice notes some years ago. I'll just record like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I'll just send it to some of my friends. Until someone told me you should do a podcast. And then I started to podcast. How can we package it intentionally? That is fulfilling a dream in the line of what you're naturally gifted at. But so some other people, it may be what you enjoy, what you like doing. And we should be asking, how can you use it to serve others and probably even get rewarded for it? So you like it, you enjoy it. You may say, Falafel, is it because I do puff so easily? I can't do that, but you can start with that. That was exactly what happened to me. At a point, I had a lot of interests. And I was like, what am I going to do? I want to train, I want to teach, I want to do photography, I want to coach, I had a lot of things. There was no one who I could talk to at that time to help me navigate my path. But you know what I did? I decided to pick one. Because the idea of having so many dreams to pursue can actually be very overwhelming. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do as many things as you can if you have the time. But what I'm saying is that you are spread thin when you do too many things at the beginning. So it's always encouraged for you to start with one. When you start with one, along the line, you will discover if it's your soft spot or if it's something else that you want. But if it's something that you also need support with someone helping you to see better, then I think you may need to talk to a coach or talk to a mentor. But really, some of those things that you are naturally good at, you love to do, and you probably have thought about growing up are the things that are pointers to what it is that you could do with dreams or in life. Now, the other thing that some people lean to, which I think helped me as well, with knowing the category of people I could support with my work, is your experiences, the experiences you've had in life so far, and the lessons, right? So for me, I was at home for about 7 years or 8 years before I picked up on the fact that, oh, it took me this long to master and, the art of enjoying being at home, maximizing my time at home, and leveraging everything I had at my disposal at home. But there are many ladies out there that are still so confused about being at home. Why don't I help them? That's when I realized that I could support people like that. The other thing is that my family, because of my husband's work, we've moved across a number of major cities in the world before. I mean, well, maybe about 3 cities now. And most times when we're about to move, a lot of friends will say, what about your kids? How are they settling in? Will their education be affected? But somehow, with the help of God, we've learned some things that if we do right, trusting God, we will have a smooth transition. And that's why I just realized that, if I want to serve people as a coach, why don't I help people who are probably in the home space, who need to maximize everything they have at their disposal, or someone who is transitioning? So your experiences point to how you can position your dream, or the people that you can support as well with your dream. So you may be asking again, I don't know what my dream is, but I've mentioned a few things that you can use to connect with what your dream could be. But like I said, sometimes if you need an external help, speaking with a mentor, speaking with a coach, you may need to do that. Now, the final question I feel that some of us may be asking is, okay, Falafaya, you've just done something to me right now. Okay, so I know the value of my dreams. I know what I could do. I know how to start, but I don't think I'm ready. And many people always feel like they're not ready for their dreams. They're like, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of reasons that we come up with a lot of reasons. I'm not ready. I would have tried to look through the chat if I had time, but I have just a few more minutes left. So I will rush through this one as much as I can. Many times we will feel not ready. In fact, most times you will never feel ready for your dream. Why? Because remember at the beginning we said these dreams will be bigger than you. So at the point when you have it, remember when we're talking about Mr. Pen and Mr. Pencil? At the point when Mr. Pen was thinking, I want to be writing like Mr. Pen, he would have been saying, I'm not ready, right? You're not the only one who is not ready. I thought that way about a lot of things in the past as well. When I first even had the desire with, burning urges in my spirit to leave paid employment, I was like, I would love to do this, but I'm not ready. Oh my God. I remember it took us like 6 months for me to finally drop my letter, or probably 4 months, because my husband and myself were praying where, you will get there. But I want to talk about 2 things that many people hold on to and they eventually don't step out. One is time. That one is a very easy one, right? Because we're like, Falafaya, you don't want to know, my kids are so small, I have a lot of work. There's no time. What are you talking about dream? Are we even finished the work that is, in front of us? You're still talking about people. It's people that have time, people that have made money. Let me tell you this about time. There will never be time. There will never be time. Because something I think was my husband, I learned this from. In life, there is no vacuum. There is no vacuum. If you tell yourself, this is what I want, the next thing is to tell yourself, I would love to have it done by this time. That's the thing about dreams. If you think that casually it will just come to pass, it doesn't happen that way. You have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate about it. So time will never make way and pave way for you. No, what happens is for you to say, this thing now means this much to me. I'm ready to drop this. There's an example I used recently. Before now, my husband wasn't playing tennis. But then he just said one of the things he planned for the year, one of the goals or dreams he had for the year was to start to play tennis. Now he's playing tennis, but guess what? He's sleeping less. He has to drop his sleep time and drop something else on his schedule to accommodate it. However, when you do that, some other things will naturally shift. That is the way schedules work. As you begin to realize that, okay, I will do this. As long as you consider it important enough for you, some other things will start to shift to accommodate it. Now, some other people will say, okay, you know what? I'm scared. You don't want to know the dream that I have for Rafael. It is so big. Can you imagine I have a dream to, do something with people like maybe Moabudu, for people who are probably targeting the Nigerian terrain. I want to do something with Moabudu. Or no. You know what? I'm thinking of something to do with opera. And you're like, I am scared. It is beyond me. If you're scared, you're in a good place, actually. Because that means that dream is actually bigger than you. If you're not even scared or worried about your dream, then maybe it's not as big as it should be. So we need to really think about how big that dream is, right? Now, let me tell you something that I have realized with respect to confidence. Confidence comes with clarity. Sorry, let me say that again. Confidence comes with clarity. The clearer you are about something, the better understanding you have about something, the more confident you'll be. So you may tell yourself, okay, maybe I need to know more about this thing. So that's one part. Let me tell you another thing about confidence. Confidence, it comes with mastery. So one part is clarity. You're clearer and have a better understanding about that thing. But mastery also gives you confidence. Imagine some of us on this platform today who have been driving. I'm sure that when you think about driving, there are some rules you don't even think about. You naturally obey. You see a stop sign, you stop. You see a what they call it. You see a red light, you automatically stop. You're not thinking about those things. You've mastered the art of driving, especially in Lagos. You can see a Danfo or what they call those public buses going in front of you, right? Nobody needs to tell you to change lane because you're like, this guy, I know you can swerve and come to my front. You've mastered that art. You have become confident in that. But guess what helped your mastery level? Consistency. Consistency leads to mastery, which leads to confidence. But guess what gets you started on consistency? The first step. So what happens with many of us when we think about dreams? Even if I stay this, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get that? How am I going to get that? Like, I'm just like, calm down. Calm down. You don't need to know how the whole flight of stairs will look like. We just need to know what the first or second step will be like. Because it is taking that first step and being consistent to take every other step you can take that you will become a master and that you will eventually become confident. Confidence doesn't just come from nowhere. It comes by staying with that thing. Now, I know some people will be saying, okay, so you've mentioned all these other ones. What about resources? I need a lot of resources to get this thing done. Yeah, you're right. We do need a lot of resources to achieve some of those dreams. But here's what I always tell people, because it's my own current mantra right now. And that's the fact that wherever you are, whatever timing it is, whatever season, whatever space, you can thrive. You have every resource you need to launch out today. You have every resource you require to launch out today. Now, the challenge with most of us is that we may actually not see it. Or we could have trivialized it and assumed that this is not the kind of resource I'm talking about. Or this is not the kind of opportunity I'm talking about. But that resource is there. The resources you require now, the people, the knowledge to start. Now, I'm not saying that if you want to become a journalist and you know nothing about journalism, you're fully ready. No, I'm saying that whatever it will take for you to bridge the gap to becoming an outstanding journalist, you have the very initial one. Either someone who knows someone who can help you and connect you to the right thing. And with the gadgets most of us have right now, in fact, when we think about internet access and devices, I'm like, how many of us are really maximizing those tools? Those tools are supposed to help us also achieve our dreams. So how are you achieving your dreams with those things? Now, the other thing I want to leave us with today, two things before I round off tonight, is whenever you get to a point where you say, but I'm not ready to do this thing right now. So it's a legit emotion, it's a legit feeling. And I'm not saying we should downplay it. But the question you should ask yourself at that time is, okay, at what point will I know that I'm ready? What would need to change for me to know that I'm ready? You see, if you're not able to identify 3 to 5 things that will let you know you're ready, months down the line, we're still going to hear you talking about the dream and you've not done anything about it. So if you say you want to get married, for those that are single, maybe there are single guys in the house, and you say, oh, you know what, I'm not ready. And people are like, but the girl likes you. You guys are, a cute couple, all of that thing. And like, I talk about marriage because I'm mostly in the marriage space. Like, what does it take for you to get married? Like, I don't know, but when I'm ready, I will know. Okay, yeah. That's like a knowing, spirit-led kind of thing. But there's also the thinking part that God has gifted us with, the ability to use our minds and our brains. How will you know that you're ready? You can say, okay, well, if I have a better paying job, but you need to clarify what better paying job is like, right? Then you need to say, okay, maybe when I have a car that can seat 6 people as against just 2 people, right? Or if I move from living with a friend or squatting with a friend to my own apartment, I would like to at least have those things in place, because immediately you start to identify what will equip you to fulfill that dream, you're in a good place. But then the last thing that I want to leave us with today is this one. When you start to articulate your dream and get into the momentum of accomplishing it, one thing you need to clarify is why. What about this dream makes it matter to you? So I've given us earlier general things that we can realize gives our dream values, the people concerned. But you personally, there's something that makes your dream unique for you. You need to find out what that why is. And usually there's an exercise that is encouraged. You keep asking, what about that? What about that? What about that? At least for a number of times. 7 is a recommended number. So you get to the real reason why. Because when we are pursuing our dreams, I can promise you, it's not going to be a walk in the park. I know there are many times I want to have my live sessions or record a podcast and I am blank. I don't even know what I want to talk about. I've learned a lot of things, but I don't know which to pick from. And there are times when I am so tired physically to do some things, but by the time I connect with why I'm even doing what I'm doing again, then I get up and I do it. If you do not have a strong why that matters to your person when you're pursuing your dreams, it's likely for you to fall off. It's likely for you to disconnect from it again. I remember we're talking about connecting with your dreams. And so today I'm hoping that, with the questions I've raised that many of us would have around dreams, we would have been able to confirm and be clear on why it's important and how we can go about actually connecting with our dreams. So thank you everyone for having me. I don't know if Jolie's still there.
I'm still here.
Awesome.
I'm still here.
Good. Thank you.
So I would like us to take a few questions. So for all who have questions, please let's drop our questions very quickly. Let's take a few questions. Thank you very much for that, Buki. I think that's very good. I think we can all reflect, relate, and see how we can, make sure that we're connected back to our dreams, get ourselves scared again, essentially. So please, quick questions. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, we have just very few minutes. She's supposed to rush into another meeting not long from now. So we'll just take a few questions. If you have a question, you can type in the chat box your question, or you can raise your hand so that we can just take a few quick thoughts. While we're doing that, I'd like to just say here to everyone that is listening as well, the reason why I connected with Folafayo and on this particular topic is because one of the things we want to do at the Green community is inspire people and connect them and also empower them. So ICE, inspire, connect, and empower people to achieve their dreams. And if your dreams are not real to you, then of what purpose will be all the inspiration and the connections and the empowerment? So I felt it was important that we at least get to a place where we are dreaming again, we are reviewing our dreams and dreaming again, and then we can, then take the inspiration required, take the connections that we need to have, take the skill sets we need to learn, the mastery we need to develop to be able to live by those dreams. I can see a lot of thank you. So thank you very much, Buki, Falafayo, thank you. Any questions aside of the thank yous? Good, somebody has asked a question here. He said, Ma, how do I deal with inconsistency? So if I know that I need to start and I need to be consistent, and I know that I am not consistent, how do I deal with it?
Okay, sorry, I needed to unmute myself. Okay, one thing that you need to understand about starting with the dreams is that most times we default to our comfort zone. Or let me say, we revert back to our comfort zone when we start out with something. So if you've been waking up at, say, 7 a.m. and you decided that waking up at 6 would make a difference for you, there's a likelihood that along the line, you would wake up at 7 someday, right? But how you address your thoughts at that time, when you make that error, is what is most important. It's not that you failed at that first attempt. It's what you do to yourself. Do you beat yourself up to say, foolish you? That's what they're always saying. You never change. How do you talk to yourself at that time, right? So one thing is to realize that it would take time for you to become consistent. So starting on consistency doesn't mean that it's going to be overnight. I mean, most of us here are probably 25 and above, I believe. So for those of us that are probably late 30s, early 40s here, or even more, You can imagine that this is a lifestyle that you have shaped for that long, and you want to change it in 6 months. Come on, please, let's be fair on ourselves. It will take a while. Okay, so consistency does take time. All right, so the first thing is, how do you address the times when you miss it? The other thing is to realize that one good way to go around being consistent with something is to do little changes. Because sometimes, when we want to do a change, to make a change about something, we want a big thing. It's like, we can't just wait to fulfill that dream. You're like, I just want to lose 10 kg. Well, 10 kg is good to lose, but why not lose 1 kg, then 2 kg, then 3 kg, then 4 kg, right? So little changes and adjustments are easier for us to be consistent with than big ones. There might be sometimes when you want to do a drastic cut from some habits. Those ones are unique situations. But for those unique situations, if you do not wire your thinking to harmonize with that change that you want, you would default back. There's a particular model that I usually share. We don't have time to do that now. But that model basically is something that is very familiar in the personal development space, that tells us that how we think affects what we do. So if you want to change something in your life and you're just changing the activity end and you're not looking into your thinking to reshape your thoughts on that thing, it's not likely that you'll be consistent with it, because there's an underlying force to the decisions and the steps that we take in life. And it's like saying that you want to restructure a house. I mean, like I said, I have a background in architecture. So there's a particular foundation type that is recommended for different kinds of buildings, all right? So let's say your initial design was a bungalow. If you go to a well-trained architect and you tell them that, we want to raise this building to about 2 stories, 2 more floors on top of what is there, could you work with it? Now, someone who just wants to help you save money and beat time will probably just get rid of the roof and start to build something on it. It doesn't work that way. You need to go to the foundation and reframe it. You need to re-strengthen it for you to be able to take that change. So usually the reason why many of us fall off changes and are not consistent with this is that what actually led us to that place that we need to change, we've not really dealt with it. That's what we call things like limiting beliefs, root causes of stuff. And it's ideal that you actually sit in the session with someone who understands this to take you through the process. So it's not something that will be the same for everyone, but basically that's the model. You need to find out what brought you to that place that you've been doing that activity for so long. What is going to need to change for you to be open to the change and connecting with your why? So I hope I've been able to answer you as detailed as possible. So like I said, the first thing is being kind to yourself when you miss, and tell yourself, I can do this again, right? When you fall off the path to consistency. The other part is for you to say, how small can I break that change into so that I can embrace it easily? Then the third one will be to say, what was really the foundational root cause to me being here in the first place that I need to modify, especially in my thinking, that can help me to stay better consistent?
Thank you very much. I think very well answered. There are a few questions developing up, and I know that you need to run soon. So first of all, before I go too far, can we get your podcast link? People will like to be able to follow your podcast, find out what you're saying, what you're doing. If you have materials you've developed as well, we're curious to know so that we can engage it. So if you can drop us a link for the podcast, that would be very, very helpful. I'll throw a combination of questions if you can take them. Okay, so for those who are asking for the podcast link, it is thepolishedlens.com. Thepolishedlens.com. I'm going to put it there in the box so that I can follow thepolishedlens.com. I can also follow folafire.com. So you can also get to see more from her at folafire.com. Okay, those are the 2 pages that I needed to look at. In case we are not able to get all the questions answered, you can at least follow there as well. And then you can follow her. At Folafire. So on Instagram, it's at Folafire. And on Twitter, if you have a friend who is on Twitter abroad, you can tell your friend abroad that they can follow at Folafire. since we are supposed to be banned, we are going through our friends abroad. So someone, someone is asking a question and saying, you said dreams are in stages and they are mostly future related. You also said that if the dream is not big enough, and it doesn't scare you, it's not a dream. Where do you draw the line or balance between these two? How can I stay continuously inspired to work on my dreams? What specific things can I do to stay consistently inspired? So maybe you can take the two of them together, and then 2 minutes, you can wrap it up so that you can go.
Okay, so when I was saying that your dream is not big enough, I'm not saying that your dream necessarily has to be that scary, as in you're not sleeping. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying that most times when you really want to know that what you're working on is bigger than you, then you're like, oh wow, this is a dream. Right now, there are some dreams that, for those of us that are like, well, I have never really had a dream before. Usually when you start to even connect with, remember the points I said earlier about what you like to do, what you enjoy to do. Usually when you start that journey on discovering your dream, it's usually something that you can see. You're like, okay, just for me to do this extra. But the day you get into it, you'll be like, wow, this is bigger than me. I mean, if you ask everyone who started something, Mark Zuckerberg probably wasn't thinking about Facebook this big when it started. But as you go on, you realize this is big. So for some people, they're able to catch it because they are introspective enough to catch it, and it's scary from the start. But for some of us, we get connected to it, that size, as we go on. Because I remember when I started Cedar, that's the online platform, I was just thinking, oh, it's not just for me to, do this and do that. But there are mornings when I wake up and I'm having incredible ideas and I'm like, oh my God, this is bigger than me. I wasn't thinking about this thing at the beginning. So it takes actually, stepping into it to actually appreciate the size of what it could be. So depending on how your mind works and how probably what would they call those minds? Those minds that actually think in pictures, right? Depending on how very visionary you are as an individual, yeah, it could help you. Now, some people, the other question I think I picked, and probably need to be corrected if I'm wrong, is how do you stay, encourage your dreams? There are many ways. This community is the right place to be. You need to be in the right place where people are also pursuing theirs. Remember I said earlier on that one of the set of people that will be blessed as you pursue your dreams are other people along the side. So you also can be along the side of someone else's dream. So as someone else is doing, they are showing up consistently in your mind. You're like, oh, wow, I can also try. So you need to be around people who are pursuing their dreams and people who are speaking life to you. People who are in harmony with where you want to go. You need to have more of those people around you. Not people who are still where you were or where you want to live. You need to start seeing how you can connect with people who are where you want to go, because that's actually the kind of connection you really want. So that's part of it. The other thing is, so apart from people, you could also connect to individuals online, because there are some people you will know one-on-one, like many people know Diolu here, but there's some people that you would probably just follow online. I know that I have a lot of mentors online, right? A lot of people that I connect with, they don't know me online, man. Whenever their content drop, I'm eating it like, like real food, right? So there's some people you want like that in your space. That can also help. The other thing you want to do is whenever you have a victory or an achievement along the line of pursuing your dreams, you probably want to record it somewhere. Because when you go back to that list of achievements, those achievements, you actually get motivated, because you tell yourself, oh, wow, I couldn't do this at this time. Well, I could achieve this at this time. So I think that those are the simple things I could think of off the top of my head that could help you. But if you study yourself more, you probably have more things you can add to that list.
Okay, thank you very much, Ricky. Thank you so much. So we're going to wrap it up at this junction, and please help me drop appreciation in the box for our guest. I hope we'll have her again. If you'd like to have her again sometime soon, you can let her know in the comments so that when we ask her again, it's not difficult.